Alrighty then. Let's see if this is going. Shall we? So, welcome to the 10th for March 2019. I am covering Half-Life 2 Lost Coast today. And I can't see any stats about performance of the stream. But as you can see, I just clicked into the game. You can't even see the fact that it says Half-Life 2 up there. But yeah, see, yeah, look, it's looking okay, that's good. So just to give you a rundown, I'm going to be playing on normal. We've got 4K quality. Everything is maxed. Screw it, why not? Try and use Bloom when available. It's bound to uncheck itself. So, first things first, let's begin a video stress test. Let's just shoot the shit for the time being. Tell you what, let's turn the commentary on. So hopefully there's commentary of what's going on right now, but if not, then you can just see a panoramic camera view of Half-Life 2 Lost Coast. Now, it's a little bit on the desperate side when I need to be playing something like Half-Life 2 Lost Coast on the 10th. Quite frankly, my gaming PC is having trouble right now. Last time last session of the 10th was Race the Sun on PS4. That was done at my university accommodation, and my university accommodation doesn't have very good internet, so unfortunately that session of the 10th was pretty lackluster, to be honest. So I thought, well, you know what? Last week was a Sunday. That's just a fisherman speaking. So last session of the 10th I did, which was on a Sunday. I was at the university accommodation when I did it, just said that. So this time I thought, let's just do something at home. And of course there's multiple games that I could play, but I eventually settled to play something like Half-Life 2 Lost Coast, only because I know I can get through this relatively quickly. It can be a game that I can say I've fully gone through, so I go for the stress test now and actually play the game very shortly after this stress test is done. So this is supposed to indicate some HDR technology and all that. The sky is supposed to like bloom up and all that, which is that bloom effect when you go into like these corridors or whatever. Of course, it looks like for me it's lagging out, but that's because I'm on Ubuntu right now, which explains the window being compressed, if you saw that. That was a bit loud. They're shelling the place, we gotta get out of here. So yeah, I have to use Ubuntu because Windows 10 doesn't want to work. Call Visual Effects, that's what I wanted to say. It's the glass with the certain type of shade on it to refract the light in a certain way. There's a Combine guy right there. And they got a Hunter Chopper as well. Very nice. Oh, okay. Your average frame rate during your stress test was 59.54 frames per second. By choosing to upload your data, you'll be sending information about the CPU time. Yeah, upload results to Valve, thank you. Okay, so now we can begin Lost Coast. If my mouse can actually hover over the continue button, that would be very helpful. Again, we can turn commentary on. I've never actually played this with the commentary on, so we can see how this goes. I could always turn subtitles on as well, so here we go. Oh, we just spawned right in. Obviously some of the stuff that was further back this way, we could probably get if we really wanted to, like the Magnum for instance. I think that's back here. So yeah, the Magnum pistol. Just grab that if we wanted to. So if it looks a bit bad, then that's because probably it's 4K just being drastically downscaled. So we're supposed to come out around here somewhere. Now what I can do as well very quickly is turn on subtitles, I guess so. There we go.
Hi, this is Gabe Newell, and welcome to the Lost Coast.
It's
In this
Gabe
tour,
Newell.
we're going to be talking about a new graphics technology we've been developing called High Dynamic Range, or HDR. We'll also be giving you some insight into the design and production challenges we faced during the construction of the Lost Coast.
Oh, the subtitles look small.
First, a quick explanation of the commentary system. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your use key. To stop the commentary, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press your use key again. Some commentary nodes may take control of the game for the purpose of showing something to you. In these cases, simply pressing your use key will stop the commentary.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say to that, if we know how to use the commentary, then why explain how to use the commentary, you know? Just saying.
With conventional rendering, seen here on the left, if something on the screen is 20% reflective, like the wet sand, then the maximum reflected brightness could only be 20% of the maximum brightness of your monitor. HDR's more accurate simulation of light ensures that the sun's reflection on this wet sand appears as it would in the real world, which could potentially use 100% of the maximum monitor brightness. HDR uses bloom to simulate light that is beyond 100% of a monitor's maximum brightness.
Interesting. So you can...
When the art team started to think about a location that would demonstrate the power of HDR, a beach was one of the first choices we made. The visual relationship between the sky, the water, and the rocks is something we could not achieve without HDR. In order for high dynamic range to correctly simulate the light's interaction with the surfaces around you, like these wet rocks, we needed more precise information about the surfaces than we've had in the past. And now going forward, we're modeling textures in 3D packages to ensure that the physical information encoded in the texture allows HDR to correctly bounce light off the surface. We also designed the colors and values of each surface to ensure they will be correct across all exposure levels.
Interesting stuff. Hey, how you doing, Fisherman?
The process of building characters in Half-Life 2 taught us many things. By the end, we believed we'd figured out a more effective process for designing and constructing characters. This Fisherman is the first character we built using that process. Design-wise, the Fisherman was focused on showcasing HDR and the way light falls on human skin. The highlights on his forehead and nose are good examples of specularity on human skin. You can see how the wrinkles on his cheeks and around his eyes are an example of how we can use normal maps to add depth. Production-wise, the Fisherman was built using a similar process to the rocks you saw on the beach. We model the 3D character at a very high detail, then extract much of the physical information and store it in the textures.
Alright, mate.
Hey! You there? Wait a minute now, aren't you? You are. You're that scientist chap, Friedman. Fishman, am I right?
Friedman.
You must be here to take on the Combine. Not sure what one man can do, but no other reason to visit St. Olga at a time like this. I'll take you to where they made their base, or as far as I can, at any rate.
Alright, mate, whatever you say. Oh, looks like it's got blood on the harpoon or something. So yeah, this is Lost Coast. This is a chapter, I guess, or a level that was supposed to be in Half-Life 2, but was ultimately removed from the game. So we're playing this with commentary as well. So
water presents us with a lot of rendering challenges. In fact, we have to render the scene 3 times. Once for the refraction of what's under the water, once for the reflection of everything above the water, and once from the player's view. You can see the reflection and refraction scenes in the 2 small windows on screen. In the refraction, we calculate per pixel how much water you're looking through to do a volumetric underwater fog to simulate particulate matter. For our full HDR solution, we had to go through the entire engine and modify every bit of code that calculated light and color. For example, these water reflection and refraction renderings had to be improved to support the full range of contrast values.
So there you go.
Got the key right here. There we go. Get along now. Destroy that gun and no dawdling.
Okay, mate. And this is where he just like does a sit idle or something. Just sits there. So there we go.
Now, laddie. Destroy that gun and no dawdling.
You just said that in exactly the same way, mate. Alrighty then, so yeah, now we just gotta work our way up. Combine! Sorry, I thought I had the shotgun H still for some reason, but apparently the game changed it to the SMG. So that's all well and good. So we have the gravity gun, crowbar, pistol, magnum, SMG, pulse rifle, shotgun, crossbow, grenades, RPG. Whoa, more of them. Over there. Oh, that was way off. They're just like me, they can't aim for shit. That was supposed to kill him, what the hell? Do you see that? It's like he broke the no, now I can't go up that way. We have to head over this way.
The area you're currently entering is called the Cliffside Arena. We were particularly happy with the vertical cliffside in Half-Life 1 and regretted that we didn't iterate further on that concept in Half-Life 2. Vertical space allows us to force the player to deal with threats from above and below. We find that players focus their view on the direction they're traveling, so by using a cliffside and having the player ascend it, we ensure that the player will look up and be prepared for enemies. If the player's path was to move past the bottom of the cliffside, it would be unlikely he would notice soldiers rappelling down from above, and dying from unknown threats never feels fair and certainly isn't fun.
True. Whoa, there he is. What, mate? Oh, rocks, apparently falling from above. Oh, what's this? RPG and stuff. So yeah, it's been ages since I played Lost Coasts. And whoa. Oh god. No. That's what you get for reloading, by the way. So yeah, I haven't played this in ages. No! Shit. No. Oh god, I don't even know where that is. Oh, got him in the back of the head. Damn. I'm sucking ass at this right now. You know why it is? I think it's because of the mouse and the sensitivity on it. Not used to it. I just gotta keep going. No, don't need to kill everyone.
One of the features of our HDR solution is dynamic tone mapping. The easiest way to think about dynamic tone mapping is that it's a method of simulating the way the human eye reacts to light. In the real world, you've probably walked into a dark room and noticed your eye adjusting to the darkness, letting you see better after some time. Or you've walked out into a bright day and been blinded by the sun, only to have your eye adjust and allow you to see normally. Your iris is adjusting itself in response to the amount of light hitting your eye. Dynamic tone mapping simulates this by automatically adjusting the exposure of the scene to mimic the behavior of your iris. You can see this as the view moves from the dark tunnel to the bright sun and back again. Here, you can see the way we calculate the amount of light hitting the player's eyes. We take a snapshot of the scene, measure the brightness levels, and then use that to adjust exposure. We consider light at the center of the screen more important than at the edges, to better simulate the geometry of the eye.
Interesting. So you can kind of see that in the top right, if you saw that, how it was, oh wait, my webcam is probably blocking it, but it's giving you an indication of how much light was hitting your eye, basically. And obviously it was changing based off of where you were looking. So when I was looking down this way, it was large. So it makes a lot of sense.
The courtyard in front of you is a space we call an arena. Arenas are built to hold the player for a period of time, and usually contain combat or some other challenge. They often have multiple entry points for enemies, along with a gate of some kind to prevent the player moving on, until the challenge has been completed. In this case, the arena is free of enemies until the player solves a puzzle and triggers an alarm. This is a method that allows the player to explore the arena and get a sense of its space before being forced to fight in it. It adds a sense of uneasiness to the player who's expecting to be attacked now that they've reached the goal set for them at the start of the map. The break in the action here is also a crucial part of the level's pacing. It allows the player to recover and explore the world a little after being attacked on the way up the cliffside.
Interesting enough. So this is an arena, apparently, holds the player. Oh, this is where you're going to talk about the glass.
The Source engine supports a wide variety of shaders. The refraction shader on the window here requires us to copy the scene to a texture, refract it, and then apply it to the window surface. To fully support HDR, every shader in the engine needed to be updated. So this refraction shader was improved to support the full range of contrast. If you viewed the sun through this window, it would be refracted correctly.
Interesting. Apparently. So, can't go out there, something there, so...
We wanted to transition from a bright, wide open space into a tighter, closed one to showcase HDR's dynamic tone mapping. We also like to focus on contrasting elements in our settings, like ancient human architecture and futuristic Combine technology. A monastery fit these requirements perfectly. Monasteries are generally isolated, unlit, and built ages ago. They provide a great backdrop for the contrasting Combine technology. When we build fictional settings, we try to ground them by basing them off a real-world location. We use this location as a design constraint that forces a logical consistency behind the art choices.
Interesting to know.
Churches are great dramatic spaces. They're often lit naturally with extremes of darkness and brightness, which makes them a great showcase for HDR. Gothic churches are the sober monochromatic spaces that you've seen in almost every horror movie or game. Byzantine churches, on the other hand, are very colorful and have a large variety of materials. We wanted that color and material variety to show off our HDR reflections.
Yeah, so that's very interesting to note, to be completely honest. So I'm leaving the commentary track on so we have an idea of what actually happened during development of this. So what we have to do is...
Our games are filled with things we call gates, which are essentially just challenges that the player must overcome to drive the experience forward. We used a puzzle here since the player has been through combat and exploration recently. When we design challenges, we try to ensure that the player's goal and the action required by the player are both fun. It's not hard to create interesting goals for the player, like stopping this machine from shelling the nearby village, but the action required by the player to solve the challenge needs to be fun as well. So instead of something menial, such as hitting an off switch, the player gets to use physics to jam the gun's mechanism and cause it to break.
Well, if you didn't know what to do before, you know what to do now. So we've got this little tub here. What we're going to do is wait for this to raise, and then toss that in, and then as you see it's clogging up the mechanism. There we go, because it says moving parts can crush and cut key pans and objects clear while operating. Oh no, head crabs! I hate head crabs, man. I know there's more of them. That's where it went. Oh, got him. Okay. Well, there's something going on out there. That was dreadful. No. My accuracy is so bad with this new mouse, I can't seriously. Right. So we can actually end up going back this way, I think, maybe, but what we're going to do is go down this way. And now you can just gather some more supplies and stuff. Head out here.
This marks the end of the Lost Coast tour. This has been an experiment on our part to see if our community would find it interesting to learn more about our development process. As always, we're interested in your feedback. I can be reached at gaben, G-A-B-E-N, @valvesoftware.com. If people like this, we'll keep producing this kind of content for all of our games going forward. Thanks for listening.
The infamous gaping. Also, it's a Hunter chopper, but it's making gunship noises, so it's a bit weird how it wasn't working previously. Got him. Boom. And he died, so yeah, I don't know why the helicopter wasn't moving there for a second, the Hunter chopper, but yeah, that was a Hunter chopper making gunship noises, as I tried to say there. So what we're supposed to do now, I believe, is work our way down here. Shit. Oh god almighty, I could have died like a dumbass right there. So now we have to work our way around, I believe, somewhere, maybe around here. And there's this little cart here that we can get in and slowly make our way down. So just gotta get over there, and then we'll be done with Lost Coast. So here we go, we're in, and now we're descending down in this physics-based cart. So there we go, that was Half-Life 2 Lost Coast, ladies and gentlemen. As I was trying to make facial expressions there, Gaben at valvesoftware.com, you know, the infamous Gabe N meme.
You did it, lad. Come on with me to St. Olga. We'll celebrate this victory with a feast.
No.
I hope you like leeches.
No, don't actually.
Hey, where you going?
What do you mean, where am I going?
You're getting fuzzy around the edges. Well,
no.
I guess you got other places to be. Nice knowing ya.
Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I missed a commentary, I think, so I'm just going to go back and do that one commentary, and then we're done here, because we've done everything that we need to. So, that was Lost Coast. We can head back this way again. See, I knew there was the revolver back here, but it's only at the very end I saw that commentary, and it's like, yeah, I'm going back to get this commentary, so...
The remains of the ship in front of you were once part of a puzzle we cut out of the Lost Coast. The original design of the puzzle was based on the idea of the player and the fisherman cooperating together to solve something. This was the type of puzzle we'd always wanted to attempt in Half-Life 2. Unfortunately, as development on Lost Coast neared the end, and this puzzle still wasn't finished, we decided to cut it. It's always painful to remove work, so we've tried to evolve a process for making those kinds of decisions. For example, with this puzzle we asked ourselves, is this puzzle actually fun? If not, how much work does it need to be fun? Does this puzzle fit within the purpose of Lost Coast? Would our customers appreciate this puzzle being finished more than they would appreciate, say, soldiers rappelling off the cliffside? In the end, it made more sense to put this problem on the shelf with other interesting ideas and come back to it later.
That was interesting, to say the least. So yeah, it's nice to know they have, I guess, context and behind-the-scenes commentary behind what's going on here. So obviously there was supposed to be a puzzle here, but they never finished it, and that's why we spawn a little bit further ahead. So just speaks to the fisherman there and then, right ahead of us. So I hope you've enjoyed me playing Half-Life 2 Lost Coast, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like the stream may have been dropping frames at times. Hopefully the audio balance has been okay as well. But yeah, basically this is where I'm going to be rounding off my Half-Life 2 Lost Coast gameplay and commentary for today. Not going to save the game. We went over the commentary track as well. It's always nice to go over that sort of stuff and see what would have happened back in the day when they was making this. Of course, this is many years old at this point, so it's a little bit outdated, but it's still pretty nice to go back to some of this stuff and see what it is in like the best quality from my point of view, but not yours, sadly. So anyway, I'm gonna have to round things off here. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you for the next session of the 10th, whatever it is I decide to do. So yeah, have a great day and see you later. Oh, and we've got 9,066 drop frames, which is about 10% of the stream, but it don't matter. Anyway, have a great day.